What's going on, friends? It's your boy Danny Brasco Betts, your host here at Pick Profit and Free Pick Guru, getting you a free play today in the Dallas Mavs versus Brooklyn Nets matchup. This one on primetime ABC at 8:30 p.m. Should be a good game with some fans back in the stadium. 10% capacity allowed here in New York City. So Madison Square Garden and the Barclays Center, where we'll be tonight in Brooklyn, have some fans back in the stands. That's going to be fun. Should be some energy in the building. Let's see how these teams match up against each other, huh? You know, the Mavs, 15-16 straight up now, 13-18 against the spread. Bad cover rate, but they started the season very poorly. Injuries, COVID issues, had to dig themselves out of a bad losing record. Now almost back to 500, so we'll tip our cap to them. Nice job, Mavs. And Brooklyn Nets, 22-12 straight up, 18-16 against the spread. They are just surging. They had also struggled when they acquired Harden, built the super team of a century, and all of a sudden couldn't get wins. And we're on a weird 3-game losing streak, even dropped a game to the Pistons in that streak. All of a sudden surging. They're on an 8-game win streak, 8-0 against the spread on that streak, and they can't be stopped right now. Looking at the last few games for these teams on their recent play, the Mavericks had a couple nice wins. Dominant win over the Grizzlies where they only gave up 92 points. And then they beat the Celtics on a Luka Doncic dagger. Ice water in that veins. That boy is cold. And in the last game, we saw it here on ESPN on primetime as well. Lost to the Sixers, only got held to 97 points. Sixers locked them down, and they kind of blew them out in that one. It wasn't really much of a game. So Mavs looking to bounce back in this one. Meanwhile, for the Nets, as I mentioned, 8-game win streak, 8-0 against the spread on that win streak. They have some good wins on that. They beat the Warriors. They beat the Suns in a great comeback win. They beat the Lakers and the Clippers in back-to-back matchups. And then the last two beat the Kings and the Magic, two of the shittier teams in the NBA, beating up on them and covering in every single one of those games. Dominant here. And we know about the Nets offense, right? It's like on pace to have record numbers. Offensive efficiency is insane and truly historic offensive numbers in the league. Number 1 in total scoring, number 1 in field goal percentage, number 2 in three-point percentage. They get to the free throw line like crazy too. I mean, they score over 121 points per game on average. That's crazy. They're shooting better than 50% from the field. That's crazy. Think about the guys that are shooting. Harden, Kyrie, Joe Harris, chucking it from three land and shooting over 50% from the field. Over 40% from three ball. So, I mean, it's looking good for the Nets here. Meanwhile, for the Mavericks, you know, their offense hasn't been amazing. It's been good. Luka Doncic is that motor, and he does everything. But they need help from the other guys. And it's going to be too tough for them if they can't get a second man, a Robin Hood to his Batman. They're 17th in total scoring. They're 15th in field goal percentage, and they're 23rd in three-point percentage. They've struggled all year to shoot the three ball. Looking at some injuries, speaking of Robin Hood to the Batman, KP, questionable on this one. He's had a back injury. We'll see if he goes. That's going to be massive. If he doesn't, then it's going to be tough sledding for the Mavs to contend with the firepower of the Brooklyn Nets. Meanwhile, for the Nets, KD still out, dealing with that hamstring issue. Hasn't been a problem for the Nets whatsoever. And Jeff Green, questionable on this one. You know, he's actually an important asset for them. He's got a shoulder injury he's been dealing with, and we'll see if he goes in this one. He's a good outside shooter, can knock down. Veteran guy, strong body down there, and he's just been on winning teams before. So Jeff Green, actually, I find him quite important for the Nets as a piece for them. If he goes, they get even more improvement on the offensive end of the floor, I think. So now let's talk about defense. You know, we talked about offense and how crazy the Nets are and how the Mavs are about, middle of the pack there, but struggle shooting the three ball. Well, the Nets' Achilles heel has been defense, right? But in fact, it's actually starting to improve. They're actually getting better. Over the course of their last 4 games, they're allowing an average of 104 points per game. That's really good in today's NBA. And it's going to be a long night for the Mavs if they're not able to put in buckets with the Nets and the Nets are playing defense. Meanwhile, for the Mavericks, their defense is really lagging. They're 23rd in total scoring allowed now. They are 16th in field goal percentage against, 17th in three-point percentage again. So around the middle of the pack in some of the defensive metrics, but 23rd in total scoring allowed on the whole. And they're allowing over 113 points per game. That's not good, and that's not good when you're facing the Nets at home here with fans in the stadium. I'm seeing a tough time for the Mavs in this one. Here's some trends that's going to close the bow on this one. Check this out. And these are the things that really sold me on this pick. The Mavs are 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 games following a loss. So they lose one, they don't really cover very well in the next game. Mavs are 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 games against a team with an above 600 winning percentage. So the better teams in the NBA, they're not covering, they're not winning against. The Mavs are 3-12 against the spread in their last 15 games after allowing 100 points or more in their previous game. When the lid is off, it stays off. That's bad for the Mavs. It looks like there's no defensive adjustment the next game, right? They find their way, they lock it down. No, they continue to give up buckets, and they're not covering at all. Nets, meanwhile, 8-0 against the spread, as I mentioned, in their last 8 games. And that also happens when, after scoring 100 points or more in their previous game. I mean, I can't remember the last time the Nets scored under 100 points. Nets are 7-0 against the spread in their last 7 when their opponent allows 100 points or more in their previous game. So this is looking like all signs pointing to the Mavs are playing poor defense. The Nets are an insane offensive team. The Nets defensively are figuring some things out. If KP doesn't go, write the check on this one. And at a -4 right now, I don't see why I wouldn't take the Nets. I don't know what I'm missing here, so I'm going to have to do it. Brooklyn Nets surging right now. I'm going to keep riding the train and not get off it until the wheels fall off. And that's going to be the free pick of the day. Brooklyn Nets -4. Brooklyn stand up. We're in the Barclays Center, baby. Let's get a win. Maybe I should go see one of these games. But I'm a Knicks fan, and if you're a Knicks fan that switched over to the Nets just because you were tired of us losing, well, I get it, but you're fraudulent, and that's not, you're not allowed to do that. It's not how fandom works, and you have no backbone. So all you New Yorkers listening right now that moved from the Knicks to the Nets, I don't respect you. However, I'm a Nets fan tonight, and I'll stop my Knicks complaining. Let's go Nets. Trying to get this money tonight. Let's get a free pick winner here. Brooklyn Nets -4 is the free pick of the day. Let's go get this bread. Good luck to anyone tailing this bet. Booyah, cash out.